Demar Derozan said what about the Sacramento Kings? The Kings in the Western Conference Finals. What do you think? Brand new member of the Sacramento Kings says his team is going to make the Western Conference Finals this season. Hey, what was that? Roll back the tape. This is Brune, one of my favorite cookie companies out there. And you can be sure that you're going to love them because they're not only delicious. Here's me dropping cookie, of course, making a mess. Food allergies, no problem because they're grain-free, soy-free, refined sugar-free, the best. Try them out, Brune Kitchen Cookie. You can get them on brunekitchen.com. Enjoy. Did you enjoy the little intermission? A collaboration, woohoo! I love their cookies. Seriously, been a customer for so long, so I recommend them 10 out of 10. brunekitchen.com. Back to Demar Derozan though. He said the Sacramento Kings are going to make the Western Conference Finals. Now that is definitely a bold take from him. The Kings have not made the Western Conference Finals at least since the early 2000s. I gotta look up the actual date, but I feel like it hasn't been since like 2002. I was right, 2002. Go me, score some points. But really, the Kings have not been there since 2002. So that means this fan base is so hungry and excited for a Western Conference Finals appearance. We saw how crazy they went a couple seasons ago when they were good and they played the Warriors in the first round series and then, got knocked out. But making the playoffs for the first time, I believe in 16 years, that's how crazy it's been. I love the addition of Derozan. I think it's a great pickup by them. I think he definitely makes them better. It's a veteran, a leader in the locker room, someone who's been to the playoffs so many times, and someone who can just easily get you 20. Not only that, but think about it. Demar Derozan was in the conversation for Clutch Player of the Year last year. I believe he was top 3. And I think he was top 3 the year before that because, he's always scoring in crunch time. Well, guess what? Now you have 2 of them on the same team because De'Aaron Fox won that award a couple seasons ago. And I don't remember if he ended up being a candidate this year, but he definitely can be one every year. So now you have 2 players who can be closers on the same team. So now it's who do you guard? Obviously, you have to guard every player, right? But now you have 2 players, like I said, who down the stretch can easily give you 10 points in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game. I also think Derozan is the perfect fit alongside the team that they already had because he is, like I said, a 20-point per game scorer easily, but he also is not, him and De'Aaron Fox don't necessarily overlap, in my opinion. I understand that they're both kind of slashers in a way. Derozan's not as much a slasher anymore and, the mid-range king, but at the same time, I feel like they still don't interfere with each other. And don't get me wrong, Derozan still goes to the basket and can still dunk on people, but we know him as the mid-range king for sure. So them 2 combined, I feel like is a great combination. The only issue with Keegan Murray is not necessarily his fault, and I know he ends up shooting, I believe he ended up shooting 42% from 3 last year, something like that. So overall, he has shot well, but the inconsistencies is sometimes what hurts the Kings. More so in the really big games. He has had some big games in the big games, but he has also had some not some big games in the big games, if that makes sense. And that's not to say nobody is allowed to have a bad game. But for example, when they played the Warriors in that series when he was a rookie, and again, a rookie, you know what I mean? He had that one game where I feel like he scored the first 12 points or something like that. But then it was the other 3 of the other games or whatever, he just would be cold. Or he would score 12 points in the first quarter, and then he wouldn't score for the rest of the game. So that's what I mean. But again, that's more so to do with the fact of his inexperience and just building confidence. So if he builds that confidence, there'll be no issue because he can shoot the 3. I think they're a solid team overall. I think they definitely are doing the right things. I just still don't know if they're going to make the Western Conference Finals though. Because to make the Western Conference Finals, you have to be better than all those teams in the loaded West. And not only do you have to be better, but you also have to be more experienced sometimes. So I talked about this in the live stream I did yesterday. Actually, if you missed it, I'm so sorry. I'm sure I will go live again soon on here, but I went live and I was talking about, the Kings making the Western Conference Finals and what stands in their way. And I was saying, like, for example, do we think the Kings are better than the Timberwolves, Denver, OKC? Like, do you think that they're better than them? If not, that's already an issue. But one of the things that I was saying, like in reference to Denver, for example, I think Denver has not had a good offseason. I think since they won the championship, I've been saying it over and over again, losing Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, and now KCP really, in my opinion, kind of takes them out of the championship contending conversation. I understand you still have Jokic and stuff like that, but it's just too many missing pieces and the bench is getting, really thin and whatever. So what I was saying is, like, even if you think the Kings are a better team overall, roster-wise, than Denver, the matchup is not good for the Kings at all because they have nobody to guard Jokic. And I understand nobody can guard Jokic, period. We understand that. Like, nobody's going to stop him. But there's no Anthony Davis on the team who can at least somewhat match up with him in some way, shape, or form and bother him a little bit. Like, Jokic will just get 50 on the Kings, in my opinion, every single game. And while the strategy sometimes is to make Jokic score, the buckets are going to be so easy, in my opinion, that it's not going to tire him out. So he's going to be able to get 50 and 12 assists. That's the problem. And then I was saying for the Kings versus the Lakers, for example, if that were to happen, do we think the Kings are a better team than the Lakers at this point? I think a lot of people would, but I said in the live stream as well, you're playing against LeBron James. He knows exactly what to do at every single moment. And while he may not have been able to beat someone like Denver, where you have Jokic who has like such a high IQ, has, won a championship and, has experience as well. But being able to play against a team like the Sacramento Kings, who, granted, they did get some experience going to the playoffs, they're still a relatively inexperienced, younger team. And LeBron knows exactly what to do with those kind of teams. While I'm not saying it's guaranteed that the Lakers would win, there is a world where I would pick the Lakers to actually win that series, even if I thought the Kings were better, because I just know that they're going to make the right plays at the right time. And if it comes down to, last second plays, I might have to trust the Lakers. While I don't think it's impossible for them to make the Western Conference Finals, it's kind of hard to predict when they're adding Derozan, who is such a big piece to their team. So I understand Kings fans are probably so excited for this season and are hoping they make the Western Conference Finals. I just personally don't know if I could put them in that category yet, but they are definitely doing the right things and putting themselves in the position to get closer to being contenders.